Welcome to the channel. Stop scrolling right now because the conversation we're about to dive into is not just big news. It's a terrifying look behind the curtain of global conflict. We're talking about a conversation so explosive, so reckless, that it could have, and arguably should have, changed the course of this world forever. I'm talking about the now infamous audio leak, where President Donald Trump recounts a conversation with Vladimir Putin. A conversation where, according to Trump himself, he looked the leader of a nuclear power in the eye and said, and I quote, "If you go into Ukraine, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice." Just let that sink in. The threat to blow up the capital city of Russia. This audio, leaked from a private donor meeting in May 2024, set off a political shockwave, instantly raising serious doubts about the stability of nuclear deterrence. Trump was essentially boasting about his personal version of tough diplomacy, a high-stakes game of chicken with a major global adversary. The question immediately became, what was the full, devastating response from the Kremlin? Did Putin just brush it off as mere bluster? Absolutely not. Stick with me because in the next 20 minutes, we're not just confirming the leak, we're uncovering the calculated, terrifying video response from Moscow, a strategic display of nuclear posturing that threatened to turn this whole frightening exchange into a true global crisis. We're starting the clock now. The critical point is to establish the verifiable facts. The audio surfaced when a recording from a private political fundraiser was obtained and publicized by multiple news outlets in May 2024. The context is crucial. It was President Donald Trump bragging to his donors about a conversation he allegedly had with Vladimir Putin following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In this boasting, Trump claimed to have threatened Putin directly, stating he would bomb the shit out of Moscow if Russia advanced further, a threat he claimed Putin believed only 10%, but which was enough. This revelation is an enduring leak, not just old news, because it perfectly illustrates the central fear in modern geopolitics, the miscalculation of nuclear powers. The sheer recounting of such a threat sends a message of unpredictable and potentially catastrophic hostility to the Kremlin. Faced with this explosive information, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov attempted to sidestep the claim, stating they could not confirm or deny the report, saying, "Whether it is fake or not, we do not know either. There is a lot of fake news these days." This classic Russian deflection was not a denial, but a deliberate ambiguity designed to buy the Kremlin time to formulate the powerful and terrifying, nonverbal, devastating video threat response that followed. The true devastating video threat from the Kremlin was a calculated act of power projection designed as an answer to the Bomb Moscow audio leak, serving as a powerful form of psychological warfare rather than a mere press conference. Within weeks of the audio dominating headlines, Moscow strategically ramped up the publicity surrounding its most fearsome nuclear-capable hardware. Vladimir Putin personally oversaw the highly publicized testing of the Borovistnik, a nuclear-powered cruise missile, and even more dramatically, the Poseidon torpedo, an underwater drone designed to travel vast distances and, according to alarming Russian state reports, create a massive radioactive tsunami capable of devastating major coastal cities like New York or Miami. This sudden cinematic push of these specific doomsday weapons immediately after Trump's threat was classic military signaling. It was the Kremlin deliberately sending an existential message. You threaten our capital, we threaten your coastline. This strategically released video footage of unimaginable destruction became the counter-threat, sending a clear, chilling message to the entire world that any escalation would be met with a disproportionate existential response, locking the US and Russia into a terrifying, self-fulfilling loop of threat and counter-threat. The true peril lies in the global crisis component, marking a dangerous breakdown of the mutual deterrence structure that has maintained uneasy peace since the Cold War. While the global audience has become largely desensitized to political rhetoric, military strategists recognize this back and forth, the Bomb Moscow audio followed by the Poseidon video threat, as an existential cocktail for disaster. The core issue is the contrasting yet equally volatile operational styles of the two leaders, Donald Trump operating with transactional unpredictability, suggesting he might execute a catastrophic threat purely as a negotiating tactic, versus Vladimir Putin engaging in blatant escalatory signaling, weaponizing nuclear threats whenever he perceives a threat or weakness. This reciprocal behavior, which respected bodies like the Atlantic Council have accurately labeled as a form of nuclear blackmail, hands the Kremlin the perfect rhetorical ammunition. Trump's own words justify their heightened nuclear readiness and the public deployment of destructive technologies. The real danger isn't the past leak itself, but the present reality that both nuclear powers feel validated in pushing the nuclear threat back into the global spotlight, eroding decades of crucial arms limitation treaties and validating the deepest security fears of every single NATO ally. Red lines are no longer respected. They are deliberately obliterated in a cycle of televised bluster and state-sponsored military videos. Now that we have methodically broken down the verifiable audio leak, analyzed the strategic retaliatory power projection from the Kremlin, and examined the dangerous geopolitical implications, it is time for you to enter the conversation. I want to know what your informed opinion is on this high-stakes exchange, and I've got two critical questions for you to answer directly in the comments right now. First, considering the potential for global catastrophe, was President Trump's recounting of his I'll bomb Moscow threat genuinely effective, tough diplomacy aimed at deterrence, or was it purely reckless, dangerous grandstanding that provided Vladimir Putin with a perfect, justifiable excuse to flex his nuclear muscles? Let me know where you stand by typing either tough or reckless below. Second is the current highly public increase in Russian nuclear posturing, those videos of new devastating weapons, a direct, calculated result of aggressive U.S. rhetoric, or is it purely a sign of their conventional military weakness and failure in the war in Ukraine? Are they, as some analysts suggest, a paper tiger compensating with nuclear threats? Or is this a genuine, terrifying warning that must be taken at face value? I'll be reading every comment and will pin the most insightful analysis to keep the conversation going. While you're sharing your thoughts, remember to hit the like button if you value this deep dive into complex global crises, and subscribe to ensure you never miss our analysis on the events and people shaping our world. The lasting, long-term implications of this incident confirm a dangerous new normal in global affairs. President Trump's transactional style, revealed through the audio leak, is now a fully known factor on the international stage. This style ensures that future diplomatic conversations will always be overshadowed by the possibility of extreme and potentially devastating threats, which the Kremlin is quick to exploit. Russia will inevitably continue to leverage the narrative of U.S. aggression, using Trump's own leaked words as unimpeachable proof to justify its military actions internally and internationally. The real enduring crisis here is not the history of a threat, but the profound erosion of trust and the blatant rise of nuclear blackmail as a primary tool of foreign policy, especially given the impending expiration of the New START Treaty in February 2026. The geopolitical rule has changed. The moment one side makes a threat, like bombing a capital, the other is psychologically and militarily obligated to demonstrate the means to retaliate. Russia fulfills this obligation by strategically deploying state-sponsored media and devastating videos, showcasing weapons like the Burevestnik missile and the Poseidon torpedo, deliberately publicizing the worst possible world-ending scenarios. We have entered a volatile era where political bravado is practically indistinguishable from official military policy, and the global audience is caught directly in the crosshairs of this high-stakes information war. We will continue to track the geopolitical fallout from this and other major leaks right here on the channel. I've left a link below to an article that details the full Burevestnik and Poseidon capabilities, so you can do your own deep dive on the devastating video threat that Moscow is leveraging right now. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't let the crisis go unheard. Smash that like button, drop a comment with your opinion, and share this video with someone who needs to see the full, terrifying picture. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now so you don't miss our next deep dive